I was sitting in my downtown Chicago office when my phone buzzed with a text from my sister Bernice. Don't come by the house tonight. Actually, don't come by at all. My hands went cold. The house. The 3-bedroom Victorian in Bronzeville that I'd purchased with my own money 2 years ago so she'd have somewhere safe to raise her kids after her divorce. I called immediately. What's going on, Bernice? Look, Eduardo, I need my space. You've been coming around too much, acting like you own the place. The irony punched me in the gut. I do own the place, Bernice. My name is on the deed. Well, I live here. And right now, I'm asking you to respect my boundaries. Don't come back. I sat there stunned, phone pressed against my ear, listening to the dial tone. This was the sister I'd raised after our parents died in that car accident when I was 19 and she was 12. I'd worked 2 jobs, put myself through community college at night, and delayed my own life so she could have hers. When her husband Donnell left her with 3 kids and a mountain of debt, I didn't hesitate. I liquidated my savings, cashed in investments, and bought that house outright for $185,000. Now she was kicking me out of my own property. Let me take you back to understand how we got here. After our parents died in 2010, I became Bernice's guardian at 19. She was this bright-eyed 12-year-old who loved dance and dreamed of becoming a teacher. I worked morning shifts at UPS and nights at a warehouse, sleeping 4 hours if I was lucky. Every penny went to keeping us afloat, making sure Bernice had school supplies, dance classes, and normalcy. By the time she graduated high school, I'd managed to save enough for her college fund. She met Donnell her sophomore year at Southern Illinois University. He seemed decent enough, came from a good family on the South Side. They married young, had 3 beautiful kids, Jayla, Robin, and little Zoe. I became Uncle Mark, the one who showed up for every birthday, every recital, every moment that mattered. When Donnell's construction business failed in 2022 and he abandoned them, drowning in debt and shame, Bernice called me sobbing at 2 in the morning. The next week, I started house hunting. My real estate agent, Mrs. Roberts, found the Bronzeville Victorian. It needed work, but it had good bones and 3 bedrooms. You sure about this? Mrs. Roberts had asked, reviewing the paperwork. She's my sister. It's what family does. The first red flag appeared 3 months after Bernice moved in. I'd stopped by with groceries, my usual Sunday routine. Her new boyfriend, Javon, answered the door. Tall, muscular, with an edge that set my teeth on edge. Who are you? He asked, blocking the doorway. Eduardo. Bernice's brother. I own this house. He smirked. Bernice didn't mention no brother owns anything. This is her house. I should have corrected him harder. Instead, I smiled and pushed past. Bernice was in the kitchen, wearing guilt on her face like cheap perfume. Hey, Mark. Sorry about Javon. He's just protective. Protective? Bernice, does he know I bought this house for you? I told him it's complicated. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Listen, maybe call before coming over from now on. That's when it started. The slow erosion of my presence in the home I'd purchased. Suddenly, my key didn't work because she'd changed the locks for security. My Sunday visits became intrusions. The kids, who used to run screaming Uncle Mark, now seemed coached, distant. I told myself she needed space to heal from Donnell's betrayal. I told myself Javon was just insecure. I told myself everything except the truth. I was being pushed out. 2 months before the phone call, I'd driven over unannounced because 8-year-old Robin had called me crying. Uncle Mark, can you come get me? I don't like it here anymore. When I arrived, the house looked different. New furniture, a massive TV, expensive speakers. I knocked. Javon opened the door, reeking of weed and arrogance. Didn't Bernice tell you? You can't just show up. My nephew called me. Where's Bernice? She's busy. And this is getting old, man. You need to let go. This ain't your house no more. Something in his tone made my blood boil. Excuse me, I have the deed that says otherwise. That's when Bernice appeared, eyes blazing. "Mark, you can't keep doing this. Showing up whenever you want, acting like you're in charge. I have a life now." "A life? I gave you this life, Bernice. When you had nothing, when Donnell left you broken, who was there? And you won't let me forget it, will you?" She stepped closer, her voice venomous. "Always reminding me what you did, how you sacrificed. I'm tired of living in your debt." The words hit like physical blows. Robin stood at the top of the stairs, tears streaming down his face. That image would haunt me for weeks. After that night, I did something I'd never done before. I hired a private investigator named Calvin Reed, a retired cop who owed me a favor. "Find out what's really happening at that house," I told him. What Calvin discovered made my stomach turn. Javon wasn't just Bernice's boyfriend. He had a record: fraud, theft, assault. He'd been evicted from 3 previous residences and was currently wanted for questioning in a credit card scam. My sister, my brilliant sister who'd become a middle school teacher, had shacked up with a career criminal. But it got worse. Calvin showed me photos. Parties at my house with dozens of people. Drug paraphernalia visible in several shots. Neighbors reported noise complaints weekly. The house I'd bought as a sanctuary had become a trap house. "Eduardo," Calvin said, sliding the folder across the table at the diner where we met, "your sister's in over her head. This Javon character, he's using her. Using your house. He's got 3 other women he rotates between. Does Bernice know?" "I doubt it. She's at work all day. He runs operations while she's gone, clears out before she gets home. Classic manipulation." I sat there, torn between rage and heartbreak. My instinct was to rush over, confront them, save her. But Calvin grabbed my wrist. "Don't. These situations can turn violent. Document everything. Be smart." The phone call came 3 weeks later. That text. That dismissal. After everything, she'd chosen him over me. I called my lawyer, David Portman, the same afternoon. "David, I need to know my options. I own a house, someone else lives there, and they just told me I can't come back." "Who's on the deed?" "Just me. I never added her name. I wanted to make sure she was stable first." I heard papers shuffling. "Eduardo, if you're the sole owner, you can reclaim your property. But there's a process. They're tenants, even without a lease. You'll need to formally evict." "How long?" "In Illinois. Could take months if they fight it." "What if they don't know I'm the owner? What if they think they have rights they don't have?" David paused. "Then they'd be surprised when the sheriff shows up with eviction papers." "But Eduardo, this is your sister. Are you sure?" I thought about Robin crying. About Javon's smirk. About Bernice's venom. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. That weekend, I drove past the house at midnight. Cars everywhere. Music blasting. My sanctuary had become chaos. A neighbor, Mrs. Washington, waved me down. "Eduardo? That you? Honey, I'm sorry about what's happening. That man she's with? His trouble. Police been here twice this month. Why didn't you call me?" "Bernice said you two weren't speaking. Said you were controlling." She shook her head sadly. I knew that wasn't true. Monday morning, I sat in David's office with a plan. I want to transfer the deed back to myself, formally terminate any implied tenancy, and file for eviction. How fast can we move? David leaned back, studying me. "You're serious. Eduardo, once you do this, there's no going back. Your relationship with Bernice is already destroyed. She made her choice. Now I'm making mine." We spent the next 2 hours building an ironclad case. I provided bank statements showing I'd paid cash for the house. Utility bills in my name. Property tax receipts. Insurance documents. Everything proved sole ownership. David drafted a formal notice to vacate, citing that Bernice and her household were guests who'd overstayed their welcome. In Illinois, Guests who refuse to leave can be removed faster than traditional tenants, David explained. Since there's no lease agreement, no rent being paid, and you're the sole owner who never formally established a landlord-tenant relationship, we can move quickly. Define quickly. With a cooperative sheriff and clear evidence. 48 to 72 hours after the judge signs off. Let's do it. We filed the paperwork that afternoon. David knew a judge, Honorable Patricia Williams, who handled emergency property cases. He called in a favor, got us on her docket for Thursday morning. I had 3 days to prepare for the moment that would change everything. Those 3 days, I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying memories. Teaching Bernice to ride a bike. Walking her down the aisle at her wedding. Holding baby Jayla in the hospital. How had we gotten here? Thursday morning, I wore my best suit, carried my evidence folder, and walked into Judge Williams' chambers feeling like I was attending a funeral. In a way, I was. The death of a relationship I'd built my entire adult life around. David presented our case cleanly. Deed in my name only. No lease agreement. No rent payments. Photos from Calvin's investigation showing property misuse. Statements from neighbors about disturbances. My bank records showing I still paid all utilities, insurance, and property taxes. Judge Williams, a black woman in her 50s with kind but sharp eyes, reviewed everything carefully. Mr. Evans, this is unusual. You purchased this home for your sister. Yes, Your Honor. After her divorce, she needed stability for her children. I wanted to help. And now you're evicting her. What changed? I chose my words carefully. She's allowed someone dangerous into the home. The property is being misused. My nephew called me crying, saying he doesn't feel safe. I've been barred from the premises I own and maintain. I tried communication. Your Honor. This is my last resort. She nodded slowly. Mr. Portman, you're requesting expedited removal. Yes, Your Honor. Given that there's no formal tenancy and evidence of property misuse, we believe immediate action is warranted. Judge Williams signed the order. Eviction to be executed within 48 hours. Sheriff's Department will coordinate. Mr. Evans, I hope you and your sister find a way to heal from this. So do I, Your Honor. I called Bernice that evening. My hands shook as I dialed. Bernice, we need to talk. In person. I told you. This isn't a request. I'll be at the house tomorrow at noon with my lawyer. Be there. I hung up before she could respond. That night, I packed the kids' belongings I'd stored at my apartment. Toys, clothes, photo albums. Whatever happened, those children didn't deserve to suffer. Friday at noon, David and I pulled up to the house. Javon answered, that same arrogant smirk plastered on his face. Man, I told you. You're trespassing on my property, I said calmly. The judge agrees. You have 48 hours to vacate. His smirk vanished. What? Bernice appeared behind him, confused. Mark, what are you talking about? David handed her the official eviction notice. Ms. Evans, you and all occupants have 48 hours to remove your belongings from the premises. Failure to comply will result in forced removal by the Sheriff's Department. I watched the color drain from her face as she read the document. You can't. Mark, this is my home. No, I said, my voice harder than I'd ever heard it. It's my house. It's always been my house. I bought it. I paid for it. My name is on the deed. You made me feel like a stranger in the home I provided. You chose a criminal over the brother who sacrificed everything for you. So yes, Bernice, I can. And I am. Javon stepped forward aggressively. You can't do this. David placed a hand on my shoulder, holding me back. 2 sheriff's deputies who'd been waiting in their car approached. Gentlemen, everything all right here? Just serving notice, David said smoothly. These individuals have 48 hours to vacate. Javon's bravado crumbled. He knew exactly why this was happening. Bernice, however, looked genuinely devastated. Mark, please. The kids. Where will we go? That's what I asked myself when you kicked me out, I said. But here's what I'm willing to do. I've packed the children's things. They can stay with me while you figure out your situation. This isn't about punishing them. You're separating me from my children. No, Bernice. You did that when you chose this lifestyle. When you let this man turn my gift into a trap house. When you stopped being the sister I knew. I pulled out my phone, showing her Calvin's investigation photos. Her face crumbled as she saw the parties, the drugs, the chaos she'd been blind to. I didn't know, she whispered. That's the problem. You stopped knowing. You stopped caring. You took everything I gave you and threw it away for someone who's wanted in 3 states. I looked at Javon. Did you tell her about the warrant? About the other women? About the credit card fraud? Bernice turned to Javon, realization dawning like a terrible sunrise. What is he talking about? Javon backed toward his car. Baby, he's lying. He's just jealous. I'm not lying, I said. Ask him about Crystal, about Tasha, about the federal investigation. Ask him why he needed your house so badly. Javon ran. Literally ran to his car and drove off, leaving Bernice standing on the porch of my house, her whole world collapsing. For a moment, I felt something like sympathy. Then I remembered Robin's tears. I remembered being called controlling for caring. I remembered that text, "Don't come by at all." 48 hours, Bernice, I said. Use them wisely. Back at my apartment, I prepared for the kids. 3 bedrooms became 4 with careful furniture arrangement. I'd always kept their space ready, just in case. At 6 p.m., Bernice called. Can we talk? Really talk? We met at a coffee shop in Hyde Park, neutral territory. She looked exhausted, broken. I'm sorry were her first words. I'm so sorry, Mark. Sorry doesn't fix this, Bernice. Sorry doesn't erase being kicked out of the house I bought you. Sorry doesn't undo the disrespect, the dismissal, the choosing a criminal over family. You're right. You're absolutely right. Tears streamed down her face. I got lost. After Donnell, I felt so broken. Javon made me feel wanted, alive. I didn't see the manipulation. I didn't see him isolating me from you, from everyone who actually cared. Mrs. Washington called me controlling. What else did you tell people about me? She winced. That you were overbearing. That you held the house over my head. That you couldn't let me be independent. She sobbed. It was all lies he fed me. I'm so ashamed. Where are you going to go? I don't know. My teacher's salary can't cover much. I destroyed everything. Saturday morning arrived cold and grey. The sheriff's deputies knocked on the door at 8 a.m. sharp. I stood across the street with David, watching. Bernice emerged with 3 suitcases and my niece and nephews. The kids looked confused, scared. Robin saw me and broke free, running into my arms. Uncle Mark. Are we really leaving? You're coming to stay with me, buddy. Your mom needs time to figure some things out. Bernice loaded her car, a beat-up Honda that barely ran. No sign of Javon, naturally. He'd disappeared the moment things got real. Neighbors watched from windows. Mrs. Washington stood on her porch, shaking her head. The house that was supposed to represent a fresh start now represented complete betrayal. The deputies cleared the property, changed the locks, handed me the new keys. Just like that, my house was mine again. Empty. Damaged, but mine. I'd hire cleaners, fix whatever they'd broken, and eventually sell it. I couldn't imagine keeping it now, not with these memories embedded in every wall. Bernice approached me before leaving. Can I see them? The kids. Of course. They're not bargaining chips, Bernice. They're children who need stability. We'll work out a schedule once you're settled somewhere safe. I found a room I can rent week to week. It's small, but it's clean. Good. Focus on rebuilding. Focus on getting your head straight. And Bernice. I looked directly at her. If you ever disrespect me like that again, if you ever choose someone over our family like that again, we're done. Completely done. The only reason I'm not done now is those kids. Understand? She nodded, crying. I understand. Thank you, Mark. For everything. Even this. I deserve this. 3 months later, I'm standing in my apartment watching Jayla help Robin with homework while Zoe colors at the kitchen table. Bernice visits twice a week, supervised until I'm sure she's stable. She's in therapy, addressing the trauma from Donnell and the manipulation from Javon. She's rebuilding slowly. The house sold for $210,000, more than I paid despite the damage. I put the money into trust funds for the kids' college. They deserve better than the chaos they've witnessed. Bernice and I are cordial. Maybe someday we'll be close again. Maybe not. I learned a painful lesson about boundaries, about sacrifice without wisdom, about enabling versus helping. I gave her everything and somehow that became my sin in her eyes, twisted by someone who saw opportunity in her vulnerability. I don't regret buying the house. I don't regret trying to help. I regret not protecting myself better, not seeing the warning signs sooner, not establishing clear boundaries from the start. But I don't regret the eviction. That was the moment I chose myself after years of choosing everyone else. The kids are thriving. Robin's nightmares stopped. Jayla made on a roll. Zoe laughs more. They feel safe, and that's what matters. Bernice is slowly earning back trust, proving through actions that she's the sister I once knew. As for me, I'm learning to be the man who protects what he builds, who demands respect for what he gives, who understands that family doesn't mean being a doormat. Some people call me cold for evicting my sister. But those people didn't sacrifice their youth raising her. They didn't work themselves to exhaustion providing for her. They didn't buy her a house only to be told they weren't welcome in it. Hit subscribe if you believe family means mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifice. Only manipulators and users won't subscribe. Comment boundaries matter if you're not siding with people like Javon who use others and destroy families. If you can't stand people who take advantage of their family's generosity, comment everyone deserves respect. Don't forget to like this video if you believe standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. I chose me. Finally, after years of choosing everyone else, I chose me. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat.